Okay, then. It is May 6th, 2021 at 7:09 p.m. and I would like to call us back to our open session from closed session. Welcome, everybody. So good to see all your smiling faces. It's always nice. The first thing that we have regarding 5.1 is report on closed session items, and there is one item that I need to report out. And Georgina, I will send a copy of it to you written out so that you'll have it for the minutes later, so you don't have to go crazy typing it right now. We had a discussion regarding the change from 6 feet separation of students to 3 feet social distancing between students. So I ended up making a motion in closed session as follows. Consideration of adopting the newer 3-foot social distance between students on our campuses. The board directs Dr. Young and the management team to reach out to our unions to go back to the bargaining table to negotiate the impacts and effects regarding the newer guidance related to 3 feet physical distancing from the 6 foot. Recommendation is moving forward. Mark went ahead and seconded that for us, Mr. Maselli, and our roll call vote was as follows. Mrs. Zeta was a yes, Dr. Moss was a yes, Cece Grubbs was a yes, Mr. Maselli was a yes, and Diane was a yes as well. So that is the rundown on that we needed to share out. And other than that, there was nothing else to share out. We're going to move on to item number 5.2, which is just to let you guys know that this meeting is recorded for live streaming and archiving on the district YouTube channel at youtube.com/C/Benicia Unified School District for your convenience. And we always thank you for joining us. Next up is item number 6, which is our Pledge of Allegiance. And let's see, Dr. Moss, would you be willing to lead us in the pledge this evening?
Yes, would everybody please stand and begin? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much, Dr. Moss. Okay, we are going to move on to item number 7, which is the approval of the agenda. And that I'm going to ask if I have the approval of the agenda as written.
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
Thank you, Mr. Maselli. And second?
I'll second that.
Ms. Ferrucci. All in roll call vote, please. Yes.
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 Okay, awesome. Thank you. That moves on and moves forward. We move on to item number 8, which is our highlight. And at this time, let me get back to here. I would like to introduce Dr. Gill to share some wonderful news this evening. At least that's what I have. Or maybe it's Mrs. Estrella Henderson. I'm not sure who's going to go with this one. Sorry.
That's okay. Chris Winder, would you like to go ahead and introduce the item? I'm happy to follow you.
It's going to be a teamwork. It's going to be both of us.
Right on.
Yes. So it is my honor and pleasure to, drum roll please before we actually even start, is to introduce and recognize tonight not only Benicia Unified School Employee of the Year, but also Solano County Classified Employee of the Year, who will be representing the entire Solano County at the state level in fairly soon, towards the end of this school year or later. And that is Andre Finn. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Andre. We are very proud of you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
I
very
am
much.
going to turn this over to Miss Lizette Henderson first, and then I'm going to share some highlights about Andre after Miss Lizette talks about Andre first.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It is my honor and pleasure to be here. President Zeta, trustees, superintendent, staff, and anyone else who's tuning in. I'm just thrilled to honor Mr. Finn. He is going to be representing Solano County at the state level in the classified educator category in all that he does for Benicia Unified School District. And I would love to be there in person. Anyone who knows me knows that I would love to be congratulating him and giving him a hug in person. That's how I roll. But unfortunately, we can't do that right now. But I look forward to recognizing you and honoring you, Mr. Finn, in person. You really do exemplify classified leaders throughout our county, and we're just so pleased to have you represent us. And this letter is forthcoming to you, and I wanted to read it out loud to the audience, to President Zeta, to the trustees, and to your superintendent. Dear Andre, congratulations on being selected as the Solano County 2021-22 Classified Employee of the Year. I want to commend you for your 16 years of service as a skilled trades technician with the Benicia Unified School District. From reading your nomination packet, I can tell you are an efficient, dedicated, and trusted problem solver who takes pride in doing his job well. You stay calm during emergencies, which we absolutely need, and remain flexible, never knowing when you may be called to a site that needs your assistance. Students need a safe, comfortable, and functioning environment in order to be able to successfully learn, and you help make that possible. Thank you for that, Andre. The entire district relies on you and your vast expertise, and you fulfill your multitude of duties proactively and with enthusiasm and a broad smile on your face. Thank you for that as well. I also admire your service as president of the California School Employees Association, Chapter 1096, and the additional responsibilities and time that certainly involves. Clearly, the classified employees in your district have a great deal of confidence in your leadership. We lost him. And ability to make a positive difference. It is evident, Andre, from the letters of recommendation contained in your nomination packet that you are a well-respected leader, valued mentor, and an exceptional employee in the district. Without a doubt, you epitomize the many admirable qualities that administrators, staff, students, and parents wish all educators possessed. The Blue Ribbon Committee chose you, Mr. Finn, above all others across the county because you are an excellent example of an outstanding employee and a great role model. Solano County is fortunate to have you among its wonderful classified employees who provide essential support to our students, school, and staff. Again, my heartfelt congratulations and deepest gratitude for all that you do on behalf of the students and families that you serve in Benicia Unified School District. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So thank you, Ms. Lizette Henderson. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you haven't seen his video in the Educators of the Year, the entire reel. If you haven't seen Andre's slice of life in the day in the life of Andre Finn, please do make a point of doing so. It is so inspirational, and I so enjoyed taking the time to watch it.
We're going to show that tonight, actually.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. So I'm just going to share with everybody else also tonight that what his privilege is to work with Mr. Finn and get to learn from him. So you'll see a few pictures of him doing different types of tasks and fulfilling different duties. He's our only HVAC person in Benicia Unified School District. So without him, we will not be able to function at all. Andre, so you know that. And as you can see, he is day and night working on all sorts of different kind of things: air conditioners, refrigerators, parking lots, lights, anything and everything we can think about, he's there. Even installing playground, because he's a multifaceted, multi-talented person, so he knows how to do literally anything and everything. He saved our district over $25,000. Just an electrical modification as well with the new high school gym scoreboard. And I just want to tell a story. I sometimes, because Andre is also a wonderful and amazing president of CSEA, Chapter 1096. So people like me sometimes beg for his time. And I call him sometimes often. I'll say, Andre, really need to talk to you. Andre, really need to sit in this meeting. He'll say, Kush, I'm on top of the roof at the school right now. Kush, I am inside the freezer at the high school right now. So he's thinking, lady, why are you bothering me? I'm doing some good work. Right? So, but he's amazing. So he'll say that's what we're talking about, multitasking. So even though his task may be so hard, can you imagine? Because we complain sometimes sitting in an air-conditioned room, that's so hard. But when the air conditioner is not working, who is going up there in 100-degree temperature and fixing the air conditioner up at the roof? Andre is. So that's his dedication. And all of his team members, when we were working on his nomination, and some of his peers also wrote letters of recommendations, or they said quotes. Everybody was, he's a quiet guy. He's calm. He takes care of business, but he's there for everybody. They look up to him. So here's a video that I was talking about. I do want to thank Ken at the County Office of Education. He's so responsive that anytime I ask him to say something, and he sent me this video. So thank you. Please thank him from me. He's really amazing. So here we go.
Back in 2002, I got into the heating and air conditioning. I went to a school. It's no longer around, but it was in Fremont Trade School. Attended that college. I actually graduated as one of the top students. Found out about the district through, believe it or not, the newspaper. Back in 2004, they were advertising in the newspaper. Applied for the position. Got a second interview and ended up becoming the technician at that time. We have the 4 elementaries. We have our district office here, which is our district office, and also Liberty. We have Community Day, which is also part of the district. There's 2 classrooms across the field here. And we have the middle and high school. So I'm responsible for all the sites, maintenance and repair. So filters, so that's kind of just regular routine maintenance. We do that every 3 to 4 months, swapping those out. With the pandemic, of course, we've used the upgraded filters, and we're getting ready for reopening. So it's kind of, that's the priority right now, is get all the filters changed and everything. Other stuff that I do for the district, anything electrical. So even like these TVs or anything, the projectors that we have in the classrooms, if they need electrical ran for them, that's part of my job. Making sure the heating and air conditioning equipment not only is maintained, but also any repairs. I get calls all the time, hey, my room's cold, my room's hot. So we respond to those kind of calls. The kitchen equipment, they have commercial refrigerators, commercial ovens, ice machines. So I'm responsible for all that. The lighting, interior and exterior lighting. a couple years ago, the big thing was to upgrade to LED. So we're constantly retrofitting things as well to be more energy efficient. The teachers and the kids and the staff, everybody's really appreciative, and they show it all the time too. A lot of people, oh man, thank you so much. On a hot day that the air conditioning's working, they're relieved, and oh, I wish I could give you a hug, and things like that. And so it's rewarding, and at the end of the day, it does. You feel like you did accomplish something. I have to thank my crew that I work with, family, the district. And even the teachers, they do an awesome job, and we're all here to support and work for the kids, and the staff. So, thanks to all those folks.
Well done, Andre. Congratulations. We're excited for you.
Thank you. And there is an article in Benicia Herald with Andre's picture on it. We are so proud of this. Andre, I'm going to save this copy for you. Dr. Young actually gave me this copy and asked me to share this and show this on my screen like this. So thank you so much, Andre. Dr. Young and Andre, you want to say something?
I just want to turn it over to Andre, a friend. Any thoughts? We're so it's a joy to celebrate you.
You know what? I would like to first off say hello to President Zeta and the trustees and all the staff members and Ms. Henderson from Solano County of Education. But really want to thank you guys. It's an honor and a privilege to be rewarded in this way, to be honored and to be recognized by people that you look up and respect. And it's just been a great journey going through this entire process. When I first got nominated for the Employee of the Year for the maintenance department, naturally I felt it was an honor and a privilege. And Kush came to me and said, hey, also you're going to be the one representing Benicia Unified School District to represent the county. And when she said that, I kind of took her to the side and said, Kush, are you sure? You sure you want me to do it? It's not too late to change your mind if you want to change your mind. And she said, no, Andre, you deserve it. You work really hard. You do a great job. And so the support and the, I've always felt really supported from all you guys. But like I say, it was really an honor and a privilege to receive this award. And I really couldn't think of a better organization than the Benicia Unified School District to represent, at the county level, and of course going forward to the state level. So the whole thing has been really overwhelming, getting all the love and support from everybody. But it's been a great process, and it feels good, and I really appreciate that, and look forward to continue doing a great job for our staff and students. So thank you very much again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well done, Andre. Well done.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you.
I do want to apologize. There's an extra C in the word congratulations. So that's double congratulations for you, Andre.
Can I just say something to Andre?
Sure.
Andre, I have to tell you that this is so well deserved. I just can't emphasize enough how much you mean to all the teachers and the staff, and you do everything with such grace, and even when we're all stressed out and stuff, you just are very diplomatic. You're just yay for you. This is great news.
Thank you.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. That means a lot, especially from you. I know I've been knowing you a long time. And great to work with you also. So thank you. And also I want to shout out all the teachers, because it is Teacher Appreciation Week, if I'm not mistaken. So
it is.
All the wonderful teachers in our district.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mrs. Henderson, for being here from the Solano County Board of Education. We really appreciate it. And thank you, Dr. Gill, for sharing this wonderful human being, Andre Finn, with all of us, and a little bit of his story. And definitely a jack of all trades. Let's see, you could do it all. That's just amazing. You have blessed us with being able to do that for our district. So thank you again. Well deserved.
Appreciate it again. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Boy, that was exciting. I'm so happy for him. We're going to now move on to reports, board reports. And the first person or people up are our student reports. And I did see a couple of students show up here. Let's see. Alicia Wells from Liberty, would you like to share first?
I definitely can.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, school board, Superintendent Dr. Young, and fellow cabinet members. My name is Benicia, but I go by Alice. And I'm from Liberty High School. And lately, or not lately, many of us have returned to campus for in-person learning, and we are excited to be back. Students have talked about how they enjoy being back with their friends and teachers. Some students say that they are already doing better in their classes. Personally, I am doing better as well. During the first month back, we had the opportunity to not only get to know our classmates better, but to learn about how we all have been dealing with the challenges of the past year. And we would like to thank Arts Benicia for providing us with an opportunity to express ourselves through art. We started off learning about self-portraits and illustrations. We used art to learn about how we see ourselves and how we present ourselves to the world. We are now using recycled materials to create mosaics based on our interests. I liked the art thing because I'm an artist, and we did self-portraits with Prismacolor pencils, and so that was fun. We have also been introduced to our new wellness center. We have talked about gratitude, self-awareness, and community. Students have contributed ideas for what they would like to have in the wellness center. We look forward to next year to fully use this new space. Coming up, we will be hosting new virtual guests to talk about their careers. We're looking forward to hearing from Solano Community College's auto program, the Benicia Fire Department, as well as those in the social work field that specialize in supporting young adults. And finally, we would like to congratulate 4 more of our LHS students that have graduated early. We wish them the best of luck. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you so much for sharing such wonderful news about all that's going on at Liberty. And we're glad that you guys are back in classrooms as well. We know it's been a hard year, and it's nice to hear from a student how good it feels to be back, and that you guys are seeing that your grades are going up being back in school. So I want to thank you for sharing all that information. And Arts Benicia, was that Larnie Fox that was helping you guys learn the artwork? Do you remember?
I'm not quite certain who it was. I know it was a gentleman from the community that came in and worked with us.
Okay, I think it might have been him. But in any case, we appreciate Arts Benicia for stepping up and helping us out. Thank you so much. And I see we have another student, Michaela Moldero from Benicia High School. You're on.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Whenever I can talk, my Wi-Fi likes to cut out, so just want to warn you about that.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, so it's just me today. Maddie is actually at a basketball game, so that's super exciting. She's, they're all super excited to be back indoor sports. I have a couple friends on the team, and we actually have celebrated a couple of senior nights. I mentioned, I think it was a couple weeks ago, how we were doing Panther fan cutouts. It was like the Super Bowl ones, kind of like, or that like general idea. So our amazing Panther Pride commissioners have put those up at each of our games. We aren't allowed to stay, so I think the staff has been taking them down after, so that's very helpful. But yeah, the senior nights have had those up, so that's really cool, at least for there in spirit. And we can watch over online. I think it's streaming sometimes, not all of them, but I know the senior nights have. And so as Mr. Finn mentioned, it is Teacher Appreciation Week. So for all the teachers that are watching, or all the teachers in here, happy Teacher Appreciation Week. We do appreciate you guys so much. We actually sent out a video last week. We made, it was like a poll. It was a Teacher Hall of Fame. And so, yeah, we actually sent that video out. I think it was to the teachers yesterday, but it got out to the students today. And I was actually a part of putting that together. So it was super cool to see like which teachers won which awards. And then it's also Lunch Heroes Day on Friday. So we put out another video on Friday for them. It was made by the leadership class just to thank them for all that they've done. You know, they've continued to serve lunch during lunch and breakfast during the pandemic. So, you know, we want to thank them as much as we can. And for the seniors, it's getting a lot busier. Miss K just sent out a senior bulletin. We have our senior awards night, which is going to be virtual this year. And you can send in like a form and stuff like that. Graduation is coming up. We have senior slideshow, which is basically where, you know, the students send in a couple of pictures of them and their friends. And so we can watch that at the end of the year. AP exams are coming in pretty close. So a lot of the teachers are starting to study for that, you know, making Zoom sessions for all their students that they don't have this semester because, you know, the weird little break thing. But yeah, so a lot of the students are getting back into that, just starting to study a lot more. And then this week or tomorrow is actually Adopt a Senior gift drop-offs for the parents. So this is our last one. The students are supposed to pick up the following week, hopefully, depending on how many gifts are dropped off. So we do have to figure that out. But yeah, and then we have things like rally. We're still trying to plan. Since we are in person now, you know, I believe one of our rally commissioners is in person. So he's trying to communicate with the students during lunch and things like that, you know, who's willing to participate. Since we are back, it's so nice to actually have student participation again. Like in PTV, Panther TV, they actually had our salutatorian and valedictorian. They interviewed them, and it was nice to see, you know, how they're doing, where they're going for college and things like that. And yeah, we have, as I mentioned, the sports are going pretty well. We have, I believe, boys soccer senior night was last Thursday, and that was the last senior night we celebrated so far. But yeah, we are getting booked for seniors. Definitely, we're super excited. Hoping for the best for graduation. But yeah,
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fine. Everything will be fine. I appreciate that you mentioned our teachers, our amazing teachers, and teacher appreciation, and also that you did something on behalf of or for the food services group at our campuses. They have been amazing. It's been a lot of work, and they have come through with flying colors. Mm-hmm. And then everything that you had mentioned regarding senior and graduation and testing, I just wish everybody has a good, you know, everything goes easily and well for our students as they enter this part of the year, this time of the year. And just thank you always for coming and having a smile on your face and sharing BHS with all of us. So thank you. And with that, Michaela and Alice, you guys are welcome to sign out and take care of whatever you need to take care of this evening before tomorrow comes. So again, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye now.
Have a good evening.
You too. Okay, so now we're moving on to item 9.2, which is our superintendent report. And I am going to let Dr. Young take it away.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Superintendent Zeta and Superintendent Zeta, you're a superintendent now. President Zeta and everybody who's joined us and people that are tuning in. So I have a number of things I'd like to go over with you real quick. First of all, again, just a shout out to our teachers. And then we expanded Teacher Appreciation to Staff Appreciation Week. And we did a fun thing, and it was a fun little undertaking and many hands on deck that we were able to buy these beautiful cupcakes and put them in these little boxes and deliver them at all the schools for all staff in every department, just as a small token of our appreciation for this amazing team we have here in this extraordinary school district called Benicia Unified. So thrilled to do that. So thank you to all of our employees. Also, I just wanted to let everybody know that we had this wonderful, thoughtful study session on April 24th with one of our equity experts, of which we're working with several, Ms. Nicole Anderson. It was a study session with the board on a Saturday from 9 to noon, dedicated to our work as a district around equity, opportunity, and culturally responsive practices. So that was a really good session for us. There will be more. The focus of that is being very clear about what equity means for the district, and really making sure the work is very deep as we, change our hearts and minds around what this work is and what it looks like for us very specifically. So we'll have more study sessions going forward. Just to let everybody know, I know that the curriculum department under the leadership of Dr. Beatson, they're putting together a robust professional development for the fall. So lots of targeted, specific work around equity and opportunity, while also being very clear about what it means for us. So we do the work very deeply, so it's sustained over time. Another quick thing I wanted to point out, Principal Kleinschmidt sent this to me, that the U.S. News and World Report, they do this study every year on high schools nationally. And Benicia High School, we did pretty darn well. So the high school, BHS, was recognized as, very favorably, and a number of positive things said about the high school. And one of the things I would note is that it was rated in that list, the top performing high school in all of Solano County. And then I looked a little bit deeper, and I looked to our neighbors, and we were rated higher. Not that we're competitive, maybe a little. We were rated higher than Benicia, not Benicia, but Martinez. We were rated higher than some high schools in the Mount Diablo School District. So not to denigrate our friends in other districts, but just very proud of the work that we're doing at the high school. Everybody's doing a terrific job there. So thank you. Another thing I'd like to point out, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'd like to share something with you that we are emerging from a year-long pandemic. We think, hopefully, with optimism and hope. In order to support our collective recovery and resilience, we believe that creating awareness and reducing stigma around mental health is a must. We all have experiences that last year that were difficult, and want to remind everyone that it's okay not to be okay. We are partnering and sharing resources hosted by Solano County Behavioral Health, Benicia's own Teen Center, and the mental health agencies. Please continue to check the Virtual Wellness Center for events, support services within our schools, and national hotlines such as the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And you are not alone. And please know that we've added this information to the district's website and every school's website as well. So Mental Wellness Month. So everybody take care of yourselves as we continue to transition, hopefully, out of the pandemic. And now I would like to introduce somebody who is going to be very important to us. So we had an opportunity there was an opening in our school district for a principal position at Farmer Elementary. And Dr. Cush is the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and always goes through a very robust process of recruiting, posting the positions, screening ahead of time, doing reference checks, and make sure we get the top qualified candidates to come to this extraordinary district. So it was a competitive candidate pool, and we had some really top candidates going through the interview process. And I would like to, and I will tell you all about her, I would like to welcome and congratulate our new friend and team member and leader, the new principal of Farmer Elementary, Miss Rhonda Fleming. Welcome, Miss Fleming.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Miss Fleming, I'll give you an opportunity to share a little bit about yourself, but I'd like to read your bio for everyone, so everybody knows a little bit more about you. So Miss Fleming currently serves as the coordinator of multi-tiered system supports in Novato Unified. Previously, she worked in New Haven Unified for 18 years. During this time, she held multiple leadership roles. Her professional career began as a third grade teacher at Searless Elementary, I think that's how I say it, which she held for 13 years. Later, she became the site's literacy coach and assistant principal. In addition, she also served as the district coordinator of English Learner Services. Mrs. Fleming received her teaching credential and MS in Education and Cross-Cultural Teaching from National University, administrative credential from California State University, East Bay, and her bachelor's degree from San Diego State University. Rhonda lives with her husband and two sons in American Canyon. She acknowledges that being a parent is the most important role she will ever have in life. I agree with you. One of her guiding principles is to create the same environment that she wants for her two sons, for the children that she serves. She prioritizes building relationships with students, staff, families, and the community, and she understands the importance of being a part of a team that is committed to the whole child. Rhonda's passion and excitement for teaching and learning is contagious. Her knowledge of curriculum and instruction, experience, and time in the classroom has led to her view teaching as a practice versus perfection. She truly views teaching as an art that facilitates learning and helps students to develop critical thinking skills. Her beliefs are firmly grounded in the fact that each and every student has assets and brings value to the larger community that should be acknowledged, leveraged, and utilized to create an optimum learning situation. Rhonda is a fierce advocate for students who are often underserved. She has learned so much from partnering with families, listening to their stories and experiences. Her mission is to be part of a team that prioritizes creating an environment where students can thrive emotionally, socially, and academically, regardless of their zip code, ethnicity, language, ability, or socioeconomic status. She is honored to be able to join the community at Mary Farmer Elementary School and Benicia Unified to continue her life's work of creating equitable outcomes for each and every student by ensuring that all students feel seen, heard, valued, inspired, and challenged. So with that, Ms. Fleming, we're so thrilled for you to be joining us. And if you'd like to say a few words to the board and the community, they'd love to hear from you.
Thank you very much. Before I forget, I do want to acknowledge Teacher Appreciation Week. And since you are extending it to Staff Appreciation Week, I know for anyone involved in education, it's been one of the most challenging years we've ever experienced, and people have showed up in so many ways. So just want to acknowledge that for the whole community. It's an honor to be able to be a part of Benicia Unified and continue my life's work. I really like what I hear in the direction and where this organization is going in terms of supporting students and keeping the focus on learning. I'm incredibly excited to meet the staff, the committed staff, the teachers, the custodians, the office managers, the parents at Mary Farmer Elementary School, and incredibly eager to see the faces of the students that I will serve. It's a pleasure to be able to continue my life's work, again, with a team that's committed, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming school year. I do have my youngest son, Kingston, that would like to say hello to the team.
Hey.
Nice to meet you.
So thank you all for this opportunity. I am a passionate educator and a learner. And just really want to be a partner and continue the work that has already been established at Mary Farmer Elementary School. So thank you.
So welcome. Thank you, Ms. Fleming. Thank you.
Yay, yes, exactly.
All right.
Welcome.
Yes. That's it for me, President Zeta.
All right, I'll take the reins again. So now we're moving on to board reports. And so any of our board members would like to share anything that's been going on? Nothing, Dr. Moss? Ms. Grubbs? Nothing? Okay. Mr. Maselli? Who am I not seeing? Myself. Oh, how come? See, I didn't see your picture. Okay. Mrs. Ferrucci, please share.
Mrs. Zeta. All right, I attended 2 of our curriculum meetings this week. They're doing some, the DCC is one of them that's led by Mrs. Rice. They're doing some amazing work getting ready for the beginning of the school year. She's got a dynamic group of teachers and they really were busy and hustling away. It was actually a delight to sit on the committee. Also, we've got the Lcap going on and you're gonna see some exciting stuff today. What's amazing is to see it all combined into a document. It's pretty impressive. So hopefully everybody had a chance to read that through. I just got an email a little while ago. So our candidates have been selected. As you know, I sit on the Liberty High School and Rotary Advisory Committee. They actually selected their 3 candidates that will be getting scholarships this year at the graduation. So I think you're going to be very impressed with the 3 young individuals that we selected. So quite impressive candidates, and Principal Kim Lewis will be keeping that a secret, I'm sure, until graduation. And then lastly, the call that I take with Mrs. Zeta, I don't know if you were on today. No, it's getting real exciting. Anyways, it's kind of been switched over. They're now calling us the vaccine committee team. So basically what it is they're reporting out on the numbers of vaccines that actually have been administered in Solano County, which is pretty impressive. At the high end, which is the group they're most concerned about, you're up at about the 79% range, which I think is pretty overwhelming. And they're hoping within the next couple of weeks to hear the results of the Pfizer that's being tested on the 12 to 14, I guess, 15, because they've already approved the 16-year-old. So we should be hearing more on that. Actually, probably Dr. Young will be getting more on that first, because they said they're going to reach out through the schools again.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much. In fact,
Ms. Zeta?
Yes.
I just wanted to say, Ms. Fleming, I just wanted you to feel empowered and have a sense of agency that if you want to be with your beautiful sons, it's perfectly okay. You've already made a terrific impression on us, so you stay as long as you like. But if you want to make a graceful exit, we totally get it.
That would go, I think, with Andre Finn if he.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you both for being here. We look forward to working together.
Andre, you can either stay or Andre, you can come back, because Andre is going to be presenting with me the last item or the second.
All right.
Okay. Never mind.
You. I will log out and watch.
Bye. Bye. And the only other thing I wanted to say was, again, with Teacher Appreciation Week, which you guys acknowledged all our employees this week. This has been a triumphant year, difficult, and we've had hills and valleys. And I just want to say, I think on behalf of the board, how much we appreciate our district teachers and employees for all that they have done this year, trying to make it work. So that's all I have to share. So with that being complete, we're going to move on to comments from the members of the public. And let me see. So in an effort for our community's voices to be heard, BUSD has transitioned to accepting public comments via the public comment voicemail that will now be available. Members of the public wishing to address specific items on the board meeting agenda are requested to call 707-748-2787. One comment per person per item, limited to 3 minutes on the requested on the day of the meeting between 3 and 7 p.m. Please note that no anonymous messages will be played. If your comment is for closed session, please be sure to state. Is it okay? Please be sure to state that it is so it can be addressed prior to closed session. The board clerk will play the recording of all open session public comments to the specific items then being discussed by the board bylaw 9323 during public comment time. The governing board allows speakers to speak at regular meetings and agendized and non-agendized matters under public comment. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, which time the voicemail will be cut off. By law, no action may be taken on the items raised during public comment periods, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on the future agenda of the governing board. So please be reminded to keep your comments respectful and that students may be watching the board meeting. So with that, I know we have about 5 or 6 calls that came in, and we are going to play them at this time. Mr. Sharif.
Hi, my name is Andrew Miller, and I am the parent of 2 students in the Benicia Unified School District. One is in 7th grade and one is PK currently. I'm not sure which topic, it was 12.1 or 12.2. I'm really not sure. This is the first time I've ever done this, but what I wanted to say was that I was calling to address the diversity issue that I heard brought up repeatedly by members of the community at the April 22nd board meeting in regards to hiring new people. And I would just like to say that living in the most diverse state and the most diverse country in the world, I find it hard to believe that hiring someone based on the color of their skin for any teaching or board position is more of a priority than whether or not they are qualified for the job to which they are applying. I hope that rather than getting caught up in a bunch of political correctness, that your hiring practices will rely on the content of the applicant's character and their ability to do the job rather than the color of their skin. I would like my kids to learn at school that they must take responsibility for their conduct, that race is the least important aspect of another person, that hard work and rational thought are things that we all value, that there is nothing wrong with the bodies that we were born into, and that America was founded not to promote racism, but to guarantee sacred liberties and opportunities. But mainly, I would like them to learn math, science, English, etc. I'd like to thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Sean Henderson. I have a middle schooler and a high schooler in Benicia. I am just calling with a general comment. I would like to just draw the school board's attention to the work being done to address the racial inequity in our schools. I'm glad that Benicia is undergoing this endeavor, but I believe that we are moving way too slowly on this important work, and we need to really step it up and be committed to it. One thing I'd like to say is that I really want to commend trustee member C.C. Grubb for her courage to speak at the last board meeting regarding the inequitable distribution of COVID-related classroom safety materials to each school site. I've noted that Robert Simple is the most racially and socioeconomically diverse school population within BUSD. This particular school has continued to be disproportionately impacted by a lack of resources when compared to that of other school sites within BUSD. So I implore all of our board trustees and district office staff to walk through all of our school sites and look at each classroom through a lens of equity, as Ms. Grubbs advocated for during your last board meeting. I also want to strongly advocate for our children to have access to a curriculum that is historically accurate, reflective, and representative of the contributions of all the ethnic groups to the culture of the United States. I believe that the equity review should be of utmost importance. And I'd also like to address the racial gap between educators and students. Black and brown children are faced with a damaging reminder of how much they are underrepresented on every campus in this city. The lack of diversity in our educators is doing a huge disservice for all of our students, as they are only receiving a limited perspective and representation of all the beautiful cultures in our country. I urge you to be more diligent in hiring Black and brown educators. Our children deserve to see themselves reflected back while in our school environment, a place where they spend the majority of their day. I also ask that our children be provided with access to a safe and equitable learning environment in which teachers and staff are provided with robust anti-racist training, which include restorative justice practices, racial equity trainings, and trauma-based interventions and practices. This is work that must be done in community to be truly effective. Online learning modules that are optional will never produce effective results in staff behavior and school environment. Anti-racist professional development needs to be required of all staff and to be done in school site teams. The professional learning community that some of our teachers are participating in on their own time is a great example of how to do anti-racist work effectively. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Jeff Mueller. First off, I would like to express my gratitude to trustee member C.C. Grubbs for her courage to speak at the last board meeting about the inequitable distribution of COVID-related classroom safety materials. We owe it to our students to walk through all of our school sites and look at each classroom through a lens of equity, as Mrs. Grubbs advocated for. Since we as parents can't do this, we ask and expect that our district staff and representatives will. Resources necessary for our students' health and well-being also include staff that is representative and equipped with the training and perspective needed to meet our challenging era. The lack of racial diversity among BUSD staff is embarrassing and frustrating. I know that this is not something that can change overnight, but also that there are currently open positions. Staff should also be exposed to required anti-racist training to equip them properly to support our students, and supported by a qualified mental health team. Finally, the curriculum being taught needs to be in review to ensure that it includes perspectives of all the diverse American experiences. This is not something that can be achieved behind closed doors or in isolation. I request that an equity curriculum audit task force be created composed of diverse educators, parents, and community members to ensure that our curriculum is culturally accurate and reflective of the truth through diverse life lenses and life experience, and that the community is updated on this and other equity updates at board meetings. Thank you for your time.
Hi, this is Lisa Sari, the Matthew Turner Library Media Specialist. I just wanted to mention our district virtual book fair, sponsored by Robert Semple, Mary Farmer, Joe Henderson, Matthew Turner, Benicia Middle School, and Benicia High School. For more information, check your school's Facebook page, students, teachers, or your school's librarian. I am a Benicia resident. I have one child who went to Benicia Middle and Benicia High who's graduated. And I have two little boys who are currently attending Robert Semple Elementary School. I'm calling this evening not in regard to a specific agenda item, but I would like to make just a general comment regarding, I would like to commend our trustee member, Cece Grubbs, for her courage to speak at the last board meeting regarding the inequitable distribution of COVID-related classroom safety materials to each of our school sites. That was brave of her. Robert Semple is the most racially and socioeconomically diverse school in this district. And it's also, this school is also known, it has a reputation for being disproportionately impacted by a lack of resources when compared to other school sites within BUSD. I implore all of our board trustees and district office staff to walk through all of our school sites and look at each classroom through a lens of equity, as Ms. Grubbs advocated for during your last board meeting. Takes a lot of courage to speak up, especially when the rest of the group didn't have much to add. So I just want to thank you all. I know the amount of time and energy it takes to serve our community in this way. And I wanted to encourage you to have the same kind of courage that Ms. Grubbs had during your last meeting. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
That concludes the public comment.
Thank you very much. Again, I appreciate always when people take the time out of their days to call in and share information with us that's important to them. So thank you. We'll now be moving on to our item number 11, our consent calendar action items. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be approved by the board in one motion. There will be no discussion on these items unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be pulled and discussed. Included in the consent agenda are our meeting minutes for April 22nd, 2021, and our special board study session minutes on April 24th, 2021. We also have approval of the personnel action list. We also have item number 11.3, the acceptance of gifts to the district, and I want to acknowledge the district. We want to acknowledge 2 tabletop laser cutters that were given to BMS STEM program from Benicia Makerspace, valued at $500 each, total of $1,000, and 4 pallets of copy paper, color and white, to 4 elementary sites from John Peralta of Frank Hagel Federal Social Security Building at a value of $1,250 each, a total of $5,000. Thank you very much for your donations. The last couple items are approval of the 2021-2022 designation of CIF representative to league consent item and approval of the declaration of need for fully qualified educators. So at this point, I would like to see if we have a motion to accept our consent calendar as written.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as written.
I'll
Thank you.
second that.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Frucci. Mrs. Martinez, could you please do a roll call vote? Yes.
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 All right, that moves forward. So we move on to item number 12, discussion items. The first item is on the governing board conducts a public hearing on the school facility fee justification report for the Benicia Unified School District. For this, just one second. Just one second. Okay, at this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Rayhill, who will share information regarding public hearing of the school facility fee justification report for BUSD.
Yes, good evening. We have this item tonight under discussion. It's a procedural item for the district to conduct its public hearing. This is our school facility fee justification report. And this is a standard process that all school districts in the state follow every 2 years. I'll just read a summary of this item. In the state of California, it gives our school district and all school districts the authority to charge a school facility fee on new residential and new commercial and industrial developments. There's government code that authorizes what the school districts are allowed to collect on this future development. And it can be no more than $4.08 per square foot for residential construction and no more than 66 cents for commercial industrial construction. They're commonly referred to level 1 fees. Previously, our school district rates were $2.97 for residential and 47 cents for commercial. As I mentioned earlier, these level 1 fees are adjusted every 2 years and according to an inflation rate, which is here in the state, the Class B construction, and it's determined by a state agency called the State Allocation Board. We are required, and we've attached to this board agenda item, the school facility fee justification report, and it does show that our school district meets the requirement of state law regarding the collection of these school facility fees. So this is as required. We are now conducting the public hearing on this item. The board will be asked to approve the related resolution, which does establish the school facility fees at $4.08 per square foot for residential and 66 cents for commercial industrial construction. And so that last part is an action item, which is in the next section 13 after you hear a couple more discussion items. When you conclude the public hearing here, we'll ask you to take action in the section 13 to approve the resolution that actually sets these new facility fees in place.
Thank you, Mr. Rayhill. Are there any questions from the board? Mrs. Furchy, Ms. Scruggs, Mr. Maselli, and Dr. Moss? No? Okay, then we're going to move on to our next item. Thank you, Mr. Rayhill, for the information. Thank you. Got it. Thank you. All right, so moving on to item 12.2, which is our summer school update. And with that, I'm going to welcome Dr. Beatson, our Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services, to share with us this exciting news.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. I'm really excited to present to you our progress on putting together what we hope to have as a robust summer school experience for our students. So what I want to review with you this evening is just some preliminary data from our families, our student need and how we're identifying students to participate in our summer school program this year, and then kind of review with you what we expect the summer school program to look like. So just kind of, this is the roadmap of where we went. About a couple of months ago, or before April break, I believe, we sent out an email to families, just basically it was, if we build a summer school program, would you come? To find out what was the interest in the community. In the past, at least as long as I've been here, we've only really had high school credit recovery for our summer program. We haven't had the capacity to extend it to other grade levels or other types of programming. After we did that, we sent out a preliminary interest survey to certificated staff to find out, do we have any interest in folks being able to teach this summer? And then we've done some collaboration with some community partners as well, because we want to be able to serve our students. We met with BTA to talk about the summer program. And now I'm here presenting to you. And then hopefully tomorrow we will send out registrations, preliminary registration to families. So that's kind of what the journey has been. And just, I want to back up 1 second. The other piece, this started primarily because we received some additional funding, which I'll talk about in another presentation, from the state to do something called expanded learning. And so we had an opportunity that we haven't had in the past, and that funding didn't come until just in the last couple of months. And so we had some quick planning to do. So when we sent out the original interest survey, we had about 802 families respond, and about 675 of them expressed some level of interest in participating, and that was if we were able to open it up to everyone. And in that survey, we didn't take family names or anything. We were just really getting a dipstick of, is there interest in our community? And so we needed to look at, do we have the capacity to open up a summer school program to everyone in our community that wants it? Or do we need to focus and really invite students who have been struggling the most? And based on our numbers of staff and our capacity, that's the approach we are taking, is to invite students who are our most struggling and in most need and meet district criteria. So it will be by invitation only at this point in time, and we will see if we can open it up past that. And so this data is a little bit old, but the way we're prioritizing how do we invite students is by data. And so we've worked with our principals and our teachers to create a list of students. And up across the top here, you see if students received a 1, and that's at the elementary level, or an F in English and math at our secondary level, or a 2 or a D, and then what's the total. And so the way we are identifying students is we're starting with students who have received a 1 or an F in both English and math. That's a kind of our first tier. And then if we still have space after that, we will say students that received a 1 or an F in reading or English language arts only. And then if we still have room, we can go to mathematics. And then if we still have room, we will go to students that received a 2 or a D. So we're sort of building a tiered system of invitation to students. I want to make a note about the high school number. So that is both Liberty High School and Benicia High School combined, English and math at both levels. Just a quote, one of the things that I will talk about in a second is that we are trying to really reimagine what summer school will look like and have it be a real science, STEAM forward approach with integrated math and literacy, very focused, targeted standards. And so that it won't be just an extension of the school year, but something that's sort of flipped on its head a little bit because we have the capacity to do that during summer school. And so what are the components? What are the parts of our summer school? Like I said, for K-8, we are really going to be doing in-person integrated support for English and math. Those are the very targeted, even though we know we have lots of different areas that we can do. We're going to focus on some key standards. And right now, my department is focusing on what are those key standards based on student data. At the high school level, we will be doing credit recovery as we typically do. And we use Edgenuity, which is an online program to do that. If we have the capacity, we will also offer seat-based English and math credit recovery for students that need to come in. And that is really dependent upon staffing. The next piece is we are partnering to make this a really rich program with Brickspace. And so many of you probably know Fari Ko, who is an engineer and owns Brickspace in town. It's a Lego robotics organization. And so it will have that STEAM integration with our teachers really focusing on the ELA and math. We also are working on putting together some activities that would happen during a midday break that focus on social emotional learning activities. And so so recess time, if you will, would be really structured. We are working on trying to get some dance in there. We'll have partnered with our county office and A Better Way, which are two counseling organizations, and they'll come out and run some activities and maybe even some small groups if parents give permission for that. So we'll have different kinds of activities that the kids can go and do during lunchtime that focus really on moving, physical movement, and social emotional learning activities built in there. And then again, our staffing is, we're so blessed to be able to have our BUSD wonderful teachers and staff. We have community partnerships that we are bringing in to help support this work, and our County Office of Education. And so I kind of already talked about this slide, but we have the content support with our amazing teachers that will do targeted reading, writing, and math support, and we will integrate that with those STEAM activities. Our lunch and recess will have the structured, culturally diverse activities happening during that time, and then again, the Lego robotics. And so basically the way we envision this happening is that kids will come, we'll start at about 8:45. We will have a challenge for that whole group. They'll head to their first class. It might be literacy and STEAM or math and STEAM, depending on how we build that schedule. Our goal is that we will have one of our teachers in the same room, so kind of almost co-teaching, partnering with one of the Lego robotics staff. And so you'll have, we're hoping to have about 20 kids in the room with two staff, one of our Benicia staff and a Brickspace staff. And they may get a challenge that may be, you know, our focus is going to be on finding area and perimeter. Maybe that's the lesson. And so they'll get a Lego challenge to build and construct in different ways using Legos, using area and perimeter. And then our classroom teacher will be there to pull small groups to run centers around that exact theme. So kids will have the both hands-on and direct instruction. That's just one simple example. And we'd be able to run 4 of those classes a day with a lunch and recess break in between, and then end the day with a daily debrief, reflections, team building. It's really bringing in that social emotional learning as well. And then we have preparation time for our teachers. In addition to this, we have a full day of training and preparation that will happen prior to the start of summer school. The other piece is we are offering 2 15-day sessions, and students can have the opportunity to come for half a day or a full day. We're asking teachers to teach for a 15-day block, either the first 15 days or the second 15 days, and we're allowing students to sign up. We actually chunked it down into 2-week sessions, so we have 4 2-week sessions, and students can sign up for 2 of them to start because we want to be able to serve many kids. We had originally thought to have them sign up for a whole month, the 15 days, but we were worried that some families wouldn't be able to commit to that much time, and so we broke it down into 2-week sessions, if that makes sense for the students, the teachers to do the whole month. And the teachers also can choose to do half a day or a full day. So that is where we are with summer school planning. Any questions or comments? We're pretty excited. It's a big lift to get it off, but it's very exciting to put this together, and we just have great partners in our teachers and in our community to help serve our students.
Any questions from our colleagues for Dr. Beatson regarding summer school? No? Nothing?
I think it's pretty obvious, but just to make sure, I know you said the partnerships with SCO, and so everything is going to happen at our sites here in town, right?
Yes.
Right.
And I'm working with, I first need to see, it's almost a chicken and egg. How many teachers do we need? How many students do we get? And we're trying to, do those things simultaneously. And then we will work with our maintenance department to find out what is the best site. We'd hope to keep it on one site, at least for the K-8 portion of the program, just to make it easier for all of the teachers and the summer school principal to have access in one place. But yes, it'll all happen on our school sites.
Okay, good. Dr. Beatson, do we have dates yet for the summer school?
Yes, and the invitation will be going out tomorrow.
Okay.
We will start, I should have put that on the slide. Thank you for pointing that out. Summer school will start June 14th, and the first session will be June 14th through July 9th, and the second session will be July 12th through August 5th. So it's Monday through Thursdays. And like I said, they have the option to do half day or full day. And then that will also run simultaneously with extended school year, which is for students who receive special education services who have that as part of their program.
Okay, that's great. I think parents will be happy to see that come to them tomorrow and be able to make a decision on that. So thank you so much for all the details and all that information.
Absolutely.
We are going to go ahead and move on to item 12.3, and that is our initial sunshine of the Classified School Employees Association. Number 1096 is proposal with Benicia Unified School District and Benicia School District's proposal for 2021 and 22 negotiations with Classified School Employees Association, number 1096. And I am going to ask Dr. Beatson to join us again and share her information regarding, wait a minute. I am going, Dr. Gill. It's Dr. Gill this time. Sorry. Dr. Beatson, you're off the hook there. Dr. Gill, if you would join us and go over this with us, I would appreciate it.
Good evening, President Zeta, trustees, superintendent, and community members. Mr. Finn may be joining us as well. I just texted him again. So I am going to, a couple of weeks ago, I want to say in April, early April, we had shared and brought forward the Benicia Teachers Association and BUSD Sunshine proposal forward. Now we are bringing the classified employees in Benicia Unified School District and Benicia Unified School District's Sunshine proposal forward. And I'm still waiting for Mr. Finn. So what I will do is, in the meantime, while waiting for him, I will go ahead and present the BUSD's proposals. And if he's able to join us, then he'll present those. Otherwise, I'll share that as well. Are you able to see my screen? Yes. Okay. So this year we have written our contract for the openers to open wages and benefits, and then each party, which is in this case BUSD and CSEA, opens one article each. And BUSD is opening obviously the wages and benefits articles. And also there's a article or 3 definitions, which we need to clarify some language in the definition. So we're opening that. Is Mr. Finn with us yet? Looks like he's not here, so I will read their part as well. They are also opening CSCA Union is also opening Article 7 and Article 9 and 10 for wages and benefits, and they're also opening Article 17, which is classification upgrade. We have a process that we follow. It looks like they might be interested in changing some language in that article. And once we have your approval, then we will start meeting with our union members to go with negotiating teams. And we're looking forward to the negotiations and hopefully get them done fairly soon. Questions?
This is good. I know we always hope negotiations go well, and we've done well in the last couple of years, and let's keep it going. Does anybody have any questions regarding this initial sunshine proposal? I don't see any questions. All right, then. Thank you, Dr. Gill. I appreciate you taking the time to share this information with us. Thank you. All right, with that being done, we're going to move on to item number 13, non-consent action items. The first item up is, let's see here.
Under Mr. Zeta, Mr. Finn just joined. Mr. Finn.
Okay.
I did share your articles. Do you want to add anything?
Oh, you shared them already? Oh, no, great. Thank you. Actually, no, didn't want to add anything.
Okay, well, thank you for coming back and joining us, and I'm sure we'll be hearing from you in the near future. So thank you so much. All right, now we'll move on to items 13.1, non-consent action items. First item up is Resolution 20.21-15, Board Resolution to adopt the school facility fees of $4.08 per square foot for residential development and 0.66 cents per square foot for commercial industrial development. Do I have a motion? Okay, Mrs. Fritchie? I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. I'd like to make a motion to accept the resolution for the developer fees.
And I'll second.
Okay, thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. So all those in favor?
Roll call.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
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 All right. Thank you. The motion carries. Next item, 13.2, is a discussion and approval of course outline for CTE business action item. And I'd like to see if, I guess, is Mrs. Rice going to say anything about this? Okay. Hello.
Hello. Good evening, Benicia community. I'm here to request board approval for a new course at Benicia High School, the CTE Business Foundations course. And this is a second course in the CTE pathway. We brought to you CTE marketing last year, which was approved and is ongoing currently. So this course, coupled with CTE marketing, will finish that CTE pathway loop. It will be offered to our 11th and 12th graders, and they'll receive G elective course credits. There will be a priority for the CTE marketing students, but it's not exclusive to them. Some of the focal points that you might want to know is they're going to learn principles and practices of contemporary business. They're going to discuss the driving forces that determine success and failure of an organization. They'll dive into sales and customer service, personal finance, planning and management. Their in project will be creating a personal portfolio that draws from reflecting on the work they've done in that course and what they aspire to do in their future. And then always as a part of our CTE pathways, they partner with local businesses in the community for the work that they do. So I'm bringing this forth on behalf of Benicia High School for your approval.
Thank you very much. Okay, do we have somebody that wants to make a motion to approve 13.2, or are there any questions that you want to go over? If not, is there anybody that would like to make a motion? Okay, Mrs. Frucci.
Before I make the motion, I just want to say it's been very exciting over these last few years to watch our CTE pathways fill out and become complete. It's been something we talked about, so know that they're finally coming to realization is very exciting and feeling very rewarding that we're able to do this for our students. With that said, I would like to pass a motion to approve the marketing pathway for our business group.
And I would like to second that.
Thank you both very much. That's exciting. I read through all the documentation that you shared with us, and I was like, wow, this is really real stuff the kids are learning. So it's very exciting.
Thank you.
So yes, a roll call vote, please. Yes.
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 All right. Thank you, Mrs. Martinez. Next item is 13.3, approval of the Expanded Learning Opportunity Grant. And I'm going to welcome Dr. Beetson back up to share with us information about this.
Okay, thank you very much. Oops, no, not share. Hold on. Wrong button. Present. Okay, I'm really excited to bring to you tonight information about our Expanded Learning and Opportunity Grant. And I want you to think of this particular presentation as a slice of a pie. The whole pie will be the strategic plan Lcap, which I'll bring to you at the next regularly scheduled board meeting for public hearing. And the Expanded Learning and Opportunity Grant is just a piece of all of the things that we'll get the next time around. So what I really am hoping that you all get out of this presentation is that you understand that we have some new one-time grant funding and what the requirements are for those grant fundings, both from the state and federal government. I want to review with you the stakeholder engagement process that we used to get information to put together this grant plan, talk with you about the proposed expenditures, and then recommend for your approval the Expanded Learning and Opportunity Grant itself. So we are receiving 4 different grants over the course of this year. They're starting to come in now, and then some will come in a little bit of time. I'm going to talk about these top 2 first. These are the ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 grants. Those are federal dollars that are coming in. One is $500,000, and it's really focused to support in-person and virtual learning. And then we have ESSER 3, and that is one. We think it's going to be about $1.1 million. They haven't finalized that yet, and some of that money has to be funding to mitigate learning loss measures. But as you can see, these 2 pots of money don't need to be spent next year. We have the year after and then the following year to expend these funds. And so our strategy is that we hang on to them because we have some other funds down here, our in-person learning grant and the Expanded Learning and Opportunity Grant. Those both have to be spent in this upcoming school year. And so we want to be able to measure the effectiveness of some of the new strategies and actions that we're putting in place and keep them for longer than 1 year by then dipping into these ESSER funds in the 2 outer years. If that makes sense. So these 2 are federal funds up here at the top, the ESSER funds. And then there is an in-person learning grant. This has to be spent over the course of next school year. It is $1.3 million. It has to do with anything COVID related, facility needs, staffing costs, mental health supports, everything for in-person learning. Okay. I'm not going to get into detail about this particular grant tonight because it doesn't require approval. But what I will tell you is all of the items that have been identified will show up in the LCAP, and I'll review that with you when we meet next time. What I'm going to spend some time on this evening is going through the Expanded Learning and Opportunity Grant, because this particular grant has a report that I wrote and it's attached to your board packet, and it does need board approval. And so this grant is $2.9 million. It has to be spent over the course of next year. It had to have a plan put together, which, like I said, is approved, is attached to your board packet. And it has to do with accelerated learning, professional development, social emotional learning, extending learning time, meals. 10% of that funding, so about $300,000, has to be spent on instructional assistants that do direct service with students in the classroom. And 85% of that has to be spent on activities for in-person learning that support in-person learning. So tonight, I'm going to really focus on what's inside of this, but what I really want to reassure you is that all of these things that you're seeing tonight in this grant will be in our LCAP as well. Does that make sense? Stop me at any time if you have questions. And so, excuse me, over the course of the year, we engaged in robust stakeholder engagement. We did actually a year ago, before we went out on COVID, for the strategic plan. And then that plan never really got implemented. And then we did additional stakeholder engagement for the strategic plan. We met with parent groups. We did surveys. We had every staff meeting had input sessions at each school site. We met with administrative council. We work every month with our El Capitans, which is our union leadership and parents. And then we've also met with our SELPA, which is our special ed through the county department. All of that happened for our strategic plan. All of that information that we gathered also fed in to this grant funding. But then in addition, once we learned we were getting this grant money, we met with our union leadership to talk about the plan for collecting even more additional feedback. We held a staff forum and a parent forum where we showed the feedback we had already gotten from the strategic plan and the funding sources, and asked if there was anything additional that people wanted considered as we put together this plan for funding. And then we also had some administrator meetings. So we've done robust stakeholder engagement. And as we said, everything in the strategic plan kept showing up in all these different conversations. So we put it all together. So this expanded learning grant, and again, thinking of it as one slice of a pie that's part of the entire LCAP, has 7 buckets. I know there's only 6 boxes because that's all that came on this slide. So I put 2 things in one box right here. And the actions and services had to fit in these buckets, if you will. And so I want to just take a moment and kind of explain what the requirements for this particular grant are. First and foremost, it's about extending learning time. So it's really to accelerate progress for students and close learning gaps to give more time both during the school day, after school, summertime. There was another whole bucket on integrated student support. So that is where you talk about your mental health services, counseling, meal programs, after school programs, social emotional learning. All of that are those integrated supports. There was a bucket on professional learning. So how do we support teachers in being ready to welcome back our students and do that over the course of the school year? Another bucket on accelerating progress, and the description on that one really had to do with providing time in small groups, in tutoring, to recovery programs, to just really help kids, again, close learning gaps. This is the double bucket here. One was on additional academic services, and the description there really had to do with knowing exactly where students are. So progress monitoring and assessments. And then the other is on credit recovery. And then the final bucket that this money could be spent in is community learning hubs. And so that is making sure that students have places and access to technology and internet services. Okay. And so what I'm going to take you through now, these next several slides, are each bucket and the amount of funding that goes in that bucket and the types of activities and services that go with there. Okay. So for extended learning time, we are putting together a robust summer school program. I shared that with you just a couple of minutes ago. We are looking to extend library hours at all sites, and this will allow students to get some extra help after school, to have a place to go and log in and have some of that access to technology. It will provide them additional access to books and reading and places for some tutoring to happen. We will provide online curriculum support, so we want to continue to be able to provide access to families over the summer and after school with many of the online programs that we're purchasing. And then we're also looking at some putting together some after school enrichment, so to continue learning in small groups through the school year. The accelerating progress bucket, this is our largest bucket right now. We are, this school year, we had reading tutors at our elementary school that supported students in small groups that worked alongside our intervention teachers. And the year before that, they worked alongside our classroom teachers in the classroom. We are expanding that to have them be intervention assistants to help both with literacy and math through 8th grade. And again, that would be working alongside our certificated staff. Remember, 10% of this funding has to do with instructional assistance. And so this is where that piece comes in here. We are able to add up to 15 sections for our secondary schools in Benicia Middle School and High School in the areas of ELA, math, and science. And the purpose of that is to allow teachers to have more time to interact with students, because we would be adding additional sections at key grade levels. And so we're identifying at Benicia High School 9th grade math and 9th grade science as areas looking at data that we would like to provide some additional sections for students. We are able to eliminate the combination classes at our elementary school sites. And again, what that does is allow, because in essence, what that does is we add 3 teachers at our elementary school sites to eliminate the combination classes. And so that, again, has classes that are a little bit lower in size. And so teachers can spend more time with students and do that in-class intervention. And again, making sure that we have the curriculum and materials we need to do that kind of work. This slide shows 2 of those buckets. We have the integrated supports and the learning hubs. And so I'll just do integrated supports first. We're adding an additional counselor at our elementary school sites. I should say we're adding an additional counselor to our district. It will be a counselor to help serve our elementary school students in mental health and wellness. We have additional technology and devices to help foster that learning hubs, and additional site technology staffing to help make sure that everything is working for students and staff so that they can access all of the materials that they need. This slide also has 2 buckets. One is additional academic services, and the other is credit recovery. So I talked with you about our credit recovery program that will primarily be in the summertime, but we also have that program. We predominantly use Edgenuity. We will have that throughout the school year as well. And then we are purchasing a district-wide benchmark assessment tool that will pinpoint specific targeted skills that kids need, where they're excelling and where they need extra support, and then also match them with specific lessons in some online programs that we have used in the past, so Khan Academy and so forth, to help fill those gaps. And then we have professional learning and training, some content specific, in content specific areas, restorative and trauma informed practices, equity, and and time for teachers to collaborate on all of this work. And that is the end of this presentation, and I'd like to open it up for discussion. And just again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it gets really complicated to remind everybody that this is only one of the 4 grants. It is one that requires approval. And all of the information that I just shared with you will also show up in the Lcap. If you think about the Lcap as the whole kit and caboodle, this is one slice of it. And so you'll get this plus a lot more information in 2 weeks when I come back.
Okay, so
Thank you, Dr.
I have a question.
Sure. Go ahead, Dr. Moss.
So I know that you just said that we'll get more details to follow, and that'll be great. So do you have any specifics yet on? So, for example, I get the whole idea of the ideas of what's going to be offered. So something like extended learning time, after school enrichment. Have you already identified specifically, like I understand like the summer school opportunities, like with STEAM and everything, but are these things like totally identified yet, or is it just a kind of a general idea of what things are going to cost, and then you kind of allocated the funding that way? I guess I'm just trying to say, are there programs and things set in stone, like this is what we're doing, it's going to cost this, and that kind of thing? That makes sense?
The answer is yes to both. Okay. So in the Lcap, which I actually have the draft right here, it's line item by line item. Okay. So you can see that. And in some, there are specific programs, and others we will have, some may say curriculum materials, and we have a list behind the scenes of kind of all of the different things that we use or need to get. Every one of them might not be listed out, because otherwise this would probably be 1,000 pages. But yes. So does that make sense? So in here, go ahead.
It makes sense. I just want to make sure that we know that, because you've been presenting us with data on our students, our subgroups, and our students who have not been doing well. So I guess what I'm wanting to see is that we actually have things in place that are really specifically addressing these issues, and not just the same, general things that all the school districts do and that type of thing. I just want to make sure that we're really specifically focusing on our student needs. I mean, not saying that we're not, but you know what I mean? Like, we know that we have some really disparaging data on how some of our students have been doing. So I just want to make sure that we're including specific things and not just the same things from before.
Absolutely. And this in here, there are some things that you will have seen in the past, and there are many new things and many new positions, which the hard part about all of this is it's one-time funding.
Right.
And so typically we don't put positions in one-time funding, because you just start something and then we don't know if we can continue. And that was one of the reasons we want to save those 2 ESSER funds, so that if we're going to make very clear processes for monitoring progress, which things are actually making the biggest difference, so that we can then identify which ones we want to continue. Part of it is really adding some additional staff to support students, both in small groups and and doing that first best instruction, which our teachers are great at in the classroom, by in those key areas that we've identified, looking at our data, being able to say, okay, we look at our data and we have many kids that are struggling in 9th grade math today. So let's make those classes a little smaller by adding more sections, so that instead of pulling out. At the secondary level, one of the things that is always tricky is when we try to provide intervention classes, an extra support class, kids either don't sign up because they don't have to, and they won't come before or after school because they've got all these other things going on, and then they'd miss an elective. And so what we're trying to do is mitigate that by listening to feedback. What would help? So having that, one of the things that we heard is really being able to ask a lot of questions and getting that feedback from teachers. And so we did use all of that as we put this plan together.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Mrs. Furchi?
Well, just one of the questions, Dr. Beetson, you already answered, and I know we talked about being sure that we evaluate so that we continue to carry forward or begin to see what's really effective with students. I really like the idea too of the term that came to my head was flooding the sites with additional staff, because I think what they need is to have a few extra hands available in order to be able to work with students. I always think of the teacher is the best person in front. So if you can have multiple, I think that's going to be better. The other question that I had though too, and I don't remember in the discussions, we talked about one point of adding ARIES.
Aries
So
is
that the teachers had one warehouse. We talked about that at one point.
Yes,
Are we
we have-
still bringing that forward for them?
Aries
Is that
is still in. It's not in the LCAP because that's our student information system. That kind of comes in
our general?
It's just out of the general fund, so you're not going to see it show up in here. But you can ask. Stephanie sat in on I don't know how many Aries trainings because we've started to do trainings for every. Office managers need this, and they're every day.
We have 27 just this month. So.
Oh. Well, you got a few extra days. You could do more. Good.
Yes,
I just wanted to make sure that didn't get lost too, because I know how big that was, and that staff was asking for that support. So I wanted to make sure that's still.
Yes. So Aries is the new student information system, and then the other thing, and I'll give you a preview of what will come next time, is we're also looking at a new data platform as well that will integrate.
Okay. And are we going to stay with the NWEA? Those math is in English language. Okay.
Yep. We are actually. I think last time Stephanie presented, we're giving that in lieu of the CASP test this spring. And so because we have to give something, so we're going to give that because it gives us immediate results. It takes less time and it's more specific. And so back to what Dr. Moss was saying, we are going to even, we look at our data in generalizations, but now we're going to have specific data that we can look at each particular student and see what are the areas that are their strengths and what are the areas that are their needs, and then create supports for them based on that.
So they all saying by name, by need, that'll be good.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Grubbs, did you have any questions?
No, but I think it's I love the way it was laid out. It was really easy to understand. It was very clear. So thank you for that. And you and Stephanie have certainly been doing a lot of heavy lifting over there. So
thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Maselli. All right. Yeah, great job, Dr. Beatson and Mrs. Rice. Appreciate all the hard work you did putting this together for us to understand and be able to learn how we're moving forward. So thank you so much. So at this time, I'd like to find out if there's anybody that would like to put a motion on the floor. Do I have a motion? Ms. Frucci?
What the motion needs to be? Is it for the grant specifically? Is that the title? I don't have the agenda. I apologize. So I'm not sure.
Approval of the expanded learning opportunity grant. So that would be the motion.
Okay, I'll move to approve the expanded opportunity grant.
Learning opportunity.
Opportunity grant.
And do I have a second? Mrs. Grubbs. Yay! She got in. You always have your hand up. I've been watching. Thanks. Okay, and yes, please. Yes.
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 Excellent. That moves forward. Great job. And finally, on our agenda this evening is item 13.4, consideration and approval of the single plans for student achievement for the 2021-2022 school year. And I am going to invite Dr. Beatson back. You just no rest, right? Here you go. You're on again regarding this, and we look forward to hearing what you have to share.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's get this up and hit present this time. There we go. Okay, thank you very much. I'm very excited to present to you our single plans for student achievement for each of our school sites. What you're going to notice, well, let me back up for a minute. Last year, we made the decision to start presenting these at the end of the year for the upcoming school year. And so a couple of years ago, we used to present in October for that school year. And by the time things got rocking and rolling, we were already in October or November. And so we made the decision to follow the same timeline as the LCAP. And so that we are being even more strategic about aligning these documents. And so I'm pleased to present here tonight on behalf of my principal colleagues who have done amazing work with their staffs and their parents and their site councils on these. And so tonight, what I want you to get out of this presentation is that you understand the goals that each school site has created for the 21-22 school year for their site plan, and some of the high leverage strategies. I didn't ask them to list everything. You have their full packets attached to your board packet, and then ask for your approval of these site plans as written. Just a reminder about the process and the reason behind the development of single plans is they're really intended to guide the school in raising the performance of all students. They act as almost a mini LCAP or a mini strategic plan for the school site. What you will notice is that the plans are consistent in format across the district and have many parts that are very similar, but they do each have their unique elements for each site. They're very aligned to the LCAP, probably this year more than ever. And the goals are based, and then the actions as well, are based on feedback, student performance, and identified need due to the pandemic that we are hopefully coming out of and returning to school in person next year. And they're developed jointly with staff and site councils. And so the next several slides really are one for each school site. Well, I kind of want to, before I take you through them, I want to tell you a little bit about what you're going to see in them, because I don't want to read every single thing on the slides. The 4 elementary schools and the middle school have goals. The elementary school's goals are the LCAP goals that we are presenting in a couple of weeks. They really said these are the goals of the district. They should be the goals of our school site. They encompass the work, so they all have a goal in social emotional learning, a math goal, an English language arts goal, or it's combined, and so an academic goal for math and ELA, and then one focused on equity as well. And the middle school does as well. Their wording is tweaked to be a bit more specific to middle school. And then in the strategies, and I'll take you through them in a second, but what you will see in the strategies is that everyone is going to be using their data even more carefully, especially now that we'll have NWEA MAP, to create systems for supporting students that may include things like walk to learn, looking at different structures that they can do within the classroom, in addition to intervention teachers and intervention assistants to provide that extra support to students. They're looking and committing to staff professional development in terms of content, so continuing professional learning in math and readers and writers workshop at the elementary school. The middle school does work in English with a California Reads grant on particular strategies for middle school students, and in equity and restorative practices. They're also all committed to wellness and implementing their wellness centers and their new social emotional learning curriculum, and increasing the use of technology for assessments and robotics and STEAM. So you're going to see that pattern throughout, even though the specifics of those actions and services are unique to the school sites. The other thing that's a little bit different this year is, in talking with our principals at our elementaries and middle school, is the need to be able to adjust once the kids are back in front of them. And so they did find it challenging to write these plans because they don't have the kids with enough time and enough data to really know exactly what needs to happen next year. So they're very excited to get things back. And so those goals may not be just a laundry list of to-dos, but more about the structures that they want to put in place once the students are back, if that makes sense. So the next slides for the elementary and middle school show the goals along the side. And as I showed you, you have your English, language arts, and math, your SEL, and your equity and inclusion goal. They align perfectly with what I will be proposing as the LCAP in 2 weeks. And then here's examples of the types of actions and services that you will see in these plans. And so RTI, so that's really response to intervention, looking at tier 1, what does intervention in the classroom look like for us? Using their leadership teams differently, using and aligning the SBAC, the state test vocabulary and structures, doing restorative practices with the whole staff. So really thinking about how they use their staff meeting time, site-based supplemental support. So their virtual wellness, their library, how else can they support students? and then family engagement. I'm going to go through these rather quickly. If you would like me to slow down, please stop me at any time. Mary Farmer, you're going to see the same goals because everybody is in direct alignment this year of being really clear about what they want to focus on based on student needs. And here you're going to see the same thing, expand models for intervention. So examples, creating some walk to learn structures in place, increasing opportunities for students. Oops, I've got to move you out here. To practice CASP testing. So really using those blueprints that the testing system puts out to create tasks in classrooms that align closely with what the state says is model meeting the standards. Using technology for assessments, expanding PBIS. That is still a big focus. We've worked really hard on that in this district, and social emotional learning supports. And really looking for what are the barriers that we have in our school systems and in our schools to change the practices that they have. So how do we communicate? How do we schedule activities? What does discipline look like? And so they will be working on all of those areas at Farmer next year. Again, you're going to see very similar and yet unique pieces here. The same goals down the left. SEL, so really looking at behavior needs and using check-in and check-out systems. That's your SEL and PBIS. For ELA and math is continuing professional learning constantly and doing readers and writers workshop training, and then equity training in restorative practices, implicit bias, and effective discussions with students. Joe Henderson, same types of thing, high leverage strategies for ELA and math is using your data to analyze the student progress, using that, doing that constantly with teachers, focusing on small group instruction during the class. Those are the structures in the classrooms, and using their site leadership teams to do that work. Universal screeners to identify needs for tiered supports, our wellness center, restorative practices, second step, a better way. So all of those resources that we have, using bigger stakeholder engagement. And then down here is ongoing training for staff. At the middle school, they're very similar goals. So it's increasing the mastery towards ELA standards and math standards. This sense of belonging is one of our goals for our Lcap. And then strengthening cultural competence to result in equity for all students. And they're going to focus primarily on equitable school discipline. And so that's going to be something that they really focus on. And you can see it's data teams, implementation of literacy strategies consistently, doing more technology in their elective offerings and beefing that up. Social emotional learning is really implementing the wellness room that we've been waiting to open, and the counseling center, second step, that's your SEL lessons, and then looking again at the practices that we have in our schools and removing any barriers that we find so that all students have the opportunities that they need to succeed. Those are the elementary and middle school plans and the overall view of them. Our two high schools, Liberty High School and Benicia High School, don't do a single plan that looks exactly the same. Instead, they use their mid-year action plan report for their WASC, because that is what drives the high school level. And so these are directly related to their WASC plans, and they're preparing for a mid-cycle visit next year. And so these are the action plans that they have in place to address the needs that came out of their last WASC visit. And so we have the academic testing. And so this is using students' performance. And we can see right in here, they're using the NWEA MAP test to really monitor and target student performance there. They have sense of belonging, and they're going to be using the, it used to be the REACH survey, and they've updated it, and now it's called the Developmental Relationship Survey. And then culture and climate, which is another critical area for Liberty High School. Again, it's using the developmental relationship survey to monitor how students believe that they can influence what happens in their lives. And then their strategies are creating individualized academic recovery plans for students based on our data, professional development, and universal design. So really getting clear on universal design practices and instruction and culturally responsive practices. using data and feedback to help drive the services for the Wellness Center, continuing to partner with the county office and utilize those services, and then doing all of that information, and students will be creating individualized learning plans and their LTI, which is their learning through interest, or their apprenticeship when they go out into the community and do those programs. And then Benicia High School also has the same types of goals. So they've got working really on communication and on equitable practices so that all students achieve college and career readiness, and multi-tiered systems of support for social emotional needs of students, intervention, remediation, and then their leadership team.
I think Leslie is frozen. We'll wait a second here until she pops back on.
Practices, looking at restorative justice programs for their staff and students, looking at
I guess the computers are getting tired.
And I'll just jump in for her. So again, do
That's
that
great.
ongoing data review. And it's always also aligned with their WASP goal.
Thank you, Mrs. Rice, for jumping in and saving the day. So I guess that's all the information. Do any of the board members have any questions that Mrs. Rice or Dr. Binisia can answer before we go forward with this? I'm not seeing any hands up. I think we're good. So do I have a motion, or is there a motion that somebody would like to put?
I am sorry. I realized
We missed you. We missed you, but Mrs. Rice took over, and it's all done. We're good. There was no questions. So
I had no idea. I don't know how long I was talking.
It's okay. You did great, and the recovery was great also. So all's good. So who would like to make a motion regarding this?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we that the SIPSAs be approved as written.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Can we do a roll call vote, Mrs. Martinez? I'm getting it, the hang of it. Yes.
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 Excellent. Looks like the motion carries. Thank you. And without further ado, I mean, this has been quite a meeting, but I would like to close out our meeting this evening at, what time is it? 9:06 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and we'll see you again soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye.